You've tried it your way, but you're still in debt? Or maybe you're doing okay, but want to invest smarter, grow faster. MillionaireX.ai gives you real step-by-step strategies to ditch debt or stack wealth. Stop dreaming and start planning. Visit MillionaireX.ai today. I want you to be the next millionaire next door.
Finding the right real estate professional can be challenging. I'm broker Melissa Wilson. I'm knowledgeable in all aspects of the real estate process. So whether you're looking to buy new or an existing home or have a commercial need, I'm here to help.
Let's stop acting like we don't see how this game is played. If you tired of folks throwing shade with a smile and keeping you boxed in with that slick behind-the-scenes racism, it's time to upgrade your survival skills. See, Phillip Scott dropped more than just knowledge. He handed you a playbook with passive-aggressive racism in the system of white supremacy. This ain't the in-your-face kind. This is that sneaky, office space, let me block your blessings type of racism that'll have you questioning your own reality. It's time to call it what it is and arm yourself with the facts. But baby, don't stop at just peeping the system. Break those mental chains too. That's why you need 7 steps to decolonize the mind. This is about freeing yourself up top, walking in confidence, and letting the world know your mind is not for rent, lease, or layaway. It's time to reclaim your power step by step. So don't just watch, take action. Click over to Amazon.com, type in passive-aggressive racism in the system of white supremacy and 7 steps to decolonize the mind, and secure both books for yourself, your crew, and anybody ready for that mental liberation. La Sherika said it, now go do it. Invest in your freedom. Pick up both books today on Amazon.com. Trust me, your mind will thank you.
After 13 years of exposing lies in the media, I discovered the biggest lie of all. They want you to think racism is random, accidental, just bad people doing bad things. But what if I told you anti-Black racism was engineered, programmed like software, marketed like a product, and designed to survive across generations? That's exactly what I prove in my new book, Us versus the Machine, How Anti-Black Racism Was Programmed, Marketed, and Made to Survive. This isn't another book about what racism looks like. This is the blueprint of how it was built, who profits from it, and most importantly, how to dismantle it. I spent years connecting dots that they never wanted connected, following money trails that they thought were buried, exposing the machine that runs on our oppression. Knowledge is power, but strategic knowledge is liberation. Get Us versus the Machine on Amazon today, because once you understand the system, you can beat the system.
If you have not been tuning in before, my goodness, you've missed out on a lot. Broke boy, but with potential. What made you realize this soft life is for me?
I deserve it. Because main money is special. I'm single.
But you don't like to be alone now. I'm looking for a guy to break my heart.
But as long as they're Nigerians now.
Watch Slay Queen Nigeria, only on the African Diaspora News Channel app.
From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. This isn't just a vacation. This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured, held, and shipped off into slavery. So don't wait. Secure your spot today. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
In H-Town, we want news that speaks truth, just like we do.
ADNC keeps me informed and him inspired.
We've been through too much to trust mainstream media. This feels like us.
From the D to the diaspora, ADNC is how I stay woke. We binge ADNC like it's Netflix, but smarter.
They speak on us, but never for us. ADNC does.
No fluff. No filters. Just the truth, daily.
From Wall Street to 125th, we're watching our news.
Download the African Diaspora News Channel app today to stay connected to the culture.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there we go. All right, thank you for joining us on the program. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure you click the like and follow button if you're on other platforms. And tonight, we're going to talk about the Trump administration. The Trump administration is trying to, and all those who support him, want to whitewash history. Why are they trying to whitewash slavery in particular? What are they trying to do? We're going to get into that. I got my notes tonight for that. So we got to talk about it because the bottom line, when you're done listening to this particular stream, you're going to really understand why. So definitely stay tuned to hear everything we're going to say about why are they so trying to get rid of history? Why are they trying to ban books? Why are they trying to stop you from talking? What's going on? Why the history of black people is so threatening? Not the history of Native Americans, not the history of Hispanics, not the history of Asians in America, but only the black man and black woman of America who built America. We are constantly the threat. Our history is a threat. Our current being is a threat. Everything about us is a threat to these people. Lets you know their system isn't strong at all. It's actually weak and fragile. If you got to dedicate so much time and resources to staying on top of one group of people who are only 14% of the whole population. Understand, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to definitely get into that tonight. We had Sister Demetra earlier streaming, and so hope y'all enjoy Sister Demetra doing her thing. And I think one girl's going to eventually start doing it as well. And so, you know, we'll see how it all just work out with the, you know, just getting people rolling out just to do more streaming instead of the standalone videos. I guess some people like to interact with them, and that's fine. You know, we all got our own way of doing things, and that's beautiful. I want to thank everybody who have bought our new book here, Us versus the Machine. Thank you very, very much. If you have not bought it yet, please buy the book. Anybody in here that bought the book, have you read it in its entirety as of yet? I haven't heard somebody tell me they read it as of yet, but have you read it as in your entirety? And you know, put a lot into this. So, like I said, every year, you know, I said I've dedicated to myself to come out with a book. It's so many ideas I have for the next one, right? It's like, Lord, it's so much. You know what I'm saying? Because this stuff constantly changes. I think every year we get at least one book in a year, then I think we can keep up. Because, you know, books is something that will live past me. When the Lord is ready for me, you know, the books will be here. So that's one thing about, you know, books are part of legacy. Because legacy is very, very important. Gimmicks don't last, but legacy does. You understand? So we definitely want to do things to build legacy. Part of legacy is our ADNC app. Why? Because we wanted to make sure to create a place that we can create content and do whatever we want to do or say whatever we like to say. You know, now looking at the survey that a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people filling out the survey, you know, a lot of people haven't bought any books. And I'm like, okay, nobody bought books. You know, I'm just kind of reviewing what people have said in the responses. Or the app. Like I said, the app is two things. One is a place where we can post things, and that's our place, right? Number two, is support, right? So if somebody say that, okay, I like to support the platform outside of YouTube. Now, some people are like, I just want to watch it on YouTube. I don't want to do nothing else. Well, here's the thing about YouTube. There's things on YouTube that we can't say. Also, there's things on YouTube can do whatever they want because we don't own nothing on YouTube. Trust me, we don't. None of us do. So that's why we have to censor ourselves. We can't talk about certain things. We can't talk about certain people. There's a lot of things you can't do. I get it. It's their platform. We're actually using their platform. We're not on our platform. Now, I did it before, like years ago. I don't know if y'all remember that, I just stopped posting on YouTube at least a week. And I said, well, let's go over here at the time, Patreon. And that was like the only way I was getting people to do it because, I don't like doing that sort of stuff. But our overall goal on the app is to get 10,000 members. That's just the baseline. If we can get 10,000, man, we didn't win at that point. We won the game. And also to the people who got ADHD, why he won't hurry up? Why you won't hurry up? Hurry up and get to, listen, you TikTok watching people. YouTube isn't TikTok, okay? Because see, let me get to that. TikTok has really, I like TikTok, but a lot of things about TikTok with time I don't like anymore. And I don't like TikTok's effect on society. What I mean by that is you don't pay attention to much. You just, it didn't interest me. And you keep scrolling. And life isn't scrolling. Life is about patience. Life is about listening. And that's why a lot of people get caught up with these politicians the way they get caught up. This is why your life sometimes go the way it go, because if you just slow down for a minute, just listen and watch what people is doing and being slow to speak because you're trying to pay attention and being patient on certain things, that's why some of the conditions that people are in, like I said, that YouTube, you actually got to pay attention to it. And I'm not talking about YouTube shorts. I'm talking about just the regular long form content. And live streams are about longer content. It's not about hurry up. Okay, if you want to do that, then you have to watch TikTok if you want that going on, okay? I don't want ADHD. I do a lot of research, and I don't hurry up like, I got to do the research in 2 seconds. No. Sometimes it takes me to do some research 30 minutes, sometime an hour, 2 hours to do certain types of research. Sometimes I'm going back and forth with ChatGPT on things, I don't like going back and forth with Claude. It feels too robotic to me. But ChatGPT, I go back and forth all day about research or whatever. Say, what about this? What about that? Oh, yeah. And so I'm doing all kind of things constantly. And I'm not saying, give it to me in 2 seconds. And that's why, beyond with your people that's not patient, you lose in life. I'm telling you from experience, you lose in life. Notice the people who billionaires, they don't rush anything. They're very patient. Just remember that. All right. So what'd you say, Buckhorn? You say, I feel that everybody calm down. The feds come to the city. Hey, it's like this. Josh Z. Okay, he's not a regular here. But let's go with that. Let's go with everything what you just said. Do you know the results of the election in Texas, sir? Do you know the results of the election in Texas? See, when you talk to me, just bring up facts. That's the only thing I ask you to do. Because my one vote for whatever candidate, let's say presidential election, if I voted for Kamala Harris, she wouldn't have won the state of Texas. If I'd have voted for either I would have sat out and not vote for Trump at all, he still would have won the state of Texas. I think he had about 2 million votes, and I think she had about 1 million or so. 1 million more votes in the state of Texas for Donald Trump. So you do know with the presidential elections, it's the electoral college. It's not winner takes all. It's not the popular vote, okay? So just to give you some education on voting. Now, that makes more sense with your local elections, your congressional elections, right? Your Senate elections. That's like a popular vote. But presidential is electoral college. Do I agree with the electoral college? Hell no. Hell no, I don't agree with that. But this is their system they set up, okay? So to tell somebody, or whoever you're telling that to, if a person chose to sit out on the couch, that's their right. Maybe the person didn't offer them anything. Have you ever thought about that? So whatever president get in office, let's say we had Biden for the past 4 years. Biden did a whole lot of things that he didn't campaign on. He didn't campaign to say he was going to let in millions and millions of illegal immigrants and paper them up. He didn't say that on the campaign trail. He didn't say any of that. He did that when he got into office. And from my experience with looking at presidents, they campaign one way, and then when they get in the office, they do something totally not they didn't tell you they was going to do. All of them do it. It don't matter if they're Democrat, Republican. Okay? So, with that being said, if the Democrats were about anything, they would be leading the charge right now because it's too easy for them to. And they still that disheveled that they can't really figure out how to lead the charge, how to speak up against the things that Trump is doing. They don't even know how to do it. Do you know why? Because black people aren't their backbone anymore. Black people are choosing to chill out. That's why. And without black people, the party doesn't really exist. Black people held that party together for a long time. So if that party wants to survive, see the billionaire class with the Democrats, I know I'm going to another thing, but hey, that's what we do here. The donors, the Democrat donors, can't do nothing for the party but throw money at it. They can't give it relevancy. They can't make it cool and hip to be a Democrat. They can't do that. Only black people can do that. You understand? Only black people. But the Democrats still want to deal with these issues and problems because, like I said, they feel a lot of it's not touched. Some of them are starting to touch them, okay? But they haven't been touched enough by what Trump and them is doing. So when they come around, they eventually get to it about reparations and other things for black people. But we'll see. All right. Yes, Jamal, we control who go in office. We control the Democrats win, and we control the Republicans win. If we all, just give an example. If black people say, all right, look, I don't like the Democrats, but doggone it, I need them to go in there and disrupt what he's doing. And the black folks just go and vote for the Democrats. Then why do you think Trump is calling these Republican states and say, hey, get me more seats? If everything he was doing was extremely popular with everybody, there was no need to call Texas and other Republican states talking about gerrymandering and get me more seats. There'll be no reason to do it because he was like, I ain't worried about the midterms. I'm good. No. They're worried about the midterms. They're extremely worried about it because everything they're doing is not popular with America. I'm not saying black people. I say America is not popular. So and historically, the opposite party gets in power. That's just been historically. It don't matter what president that's in there, the opposite party used to get in there. So statistically speaking, the Democrats probably will get back in power. They probably will. That's why they're trying to do what they're doing now. And then when Democrats eventually get the White House, it's gonna be on and popping in another way. I see it coming, right? All right. You say you could have sworn you saw Stacey Abrams' portrait in the intro? What intro? I ain't got Stacey Abrams and nothing I got going on. Nothing. All right. So let's go on and get to what we want to cover tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about the politics of America. Right one. All right. There we go. Now, this is out the Washington Post. And let's say the National Park to remove photo of enslaved man's scars. They say the Trump administration is ordering the removal of information on slavery at multiple national parks in an effort to scrub them of corrosive ideology. All right. So it's saying here the Trump administration has ordered the removal of signs and exhibits. Of course, this is the iconic photo. See, let me tell you something. When they look at this photo here, see, we see it as, oh man, that's one of our ancestors that really took a beating here, okay? But what they see, they see guilt. Even though they didn't physically do it, but they know the system they're living under came from that kind of pain and suffering, okay? Now, so he ordered the removal of signs exhibits related to slavery at multiple national parks, according to 4 people familiar with the matter, including a historic photograph of a formerly enslaved man showing scars on his back. They say the individuals who spoke on a condition of anonymity, it said because they were not authorized to speak with the media, said the removals were in line with President Donald Trump's March executive order. The directing the Interior Department to eliminate information that reflects a corrosive ideology that disparages historic Americans. Okay. National Park Service officials are broadly interpreting that directive to apply to information on racism, sexism, slavery, gay rights, or persecution of indigenous people. So they don't want you to say nothing at all about the history of America other than, oh, the white man, he's such a good person. That's it. That's all they want to hear. I mean, when you build your, the scriptures teach about building your home on sand or building it on the rock. And what the deal is with them, they built their empire on sand. They didn't build it on the rock. You understand? They claim they're Christians, but they never really read the Bible. Now, if the scriptures teach don't build your home on sand, but build it on the rock, yet they chose, building on the rock is truth. Building on the rock is righteousness. You understand what I'm saying? When you build things off of truth and righteousness and in the right spirit and following God's laws and precepts, that's when you build things on the rock. When you build things on sin and unrighteousness and not in the right spirit and being conniving and backbiting and oppressive and murderous and doing all the things you have done to build your empire, it's been on the sand. That's why it's sinking so fast. You understand what I'm saying? Now, following Trump's order, Interior Department officials issued policies ordering agency employees to report any information, including signage and gift shop items that might be out of compliance. And say Trump officials also launched an effort asking park visitors to report offending material. But they mostly received criticisms of the administration. Bravo to the people. And praise for the parks. Listen, let me tell you something. Americans want to learn the history of the country. They don't want to sit up here and want this sanitized crap. Now, I say the latest orders include removing information at Harper's Ferry National Historic Park in West Virginia. To be familiar with the matter, said where the abolitionist John Brown, which they never talk about. Oh, they don't talk about John Brown at all. These folks refuse to mention that man's name. Led a raid seeking to arm slaves for a revolt. It says staff have also been told that information at the president's house site in Philadelphia, where George Washington kept slaves, does not comply with the policy. So you're going to remove stuff from George Washington, because he was a slave owner, so he owned about 100 slaves. You're going to remove that. Like we don't have the internet. Like we don't have AI. Okay. It's a Jonathan Zimmerman, it's a University of Pennsylvania professor who studies the history of education, said this is the latest installment in the Trump administration unprecedented interference with the nation's civic institutions, a campaign which also includes Trump's takeover of the Kennedy Center and attempts to pressure the Smithsonian. It said that this represents an enormous increase in federal power and control over things we learn. Brought to you by the team that says education should be at state and local. Now, I say Park Service spokesperson Rachel Powlett said in a statement that all signage is under reviews and interpreted materials that disproportionately emphasize negative aspects of U.S. history and historical figures without acknowledging broader context, and say our national progress can unintentionally distort understanding rather than enrich it. And this is what we've been hearing as of late. Let me get back on camera. They've been saying, well, y'all not reading that in context. And when it comes to old boy, the turning point dude. Well, I know that video, well, you didn't listen to it in context. Well, it's just a difference of opinion. Like, wait a minute. Did you hear what this man is saying? What do you mean I'm listening to it out of context? I'm listening to every word. I'm watching the video of the man speaking. I'm hearing every word the man's saying. He's speaking very clearly. And you tell me I'm not hearing what I'm hearing and that's out of context? Oh, why would you cherry pick that little video? Why would you want to listen to the whole thing? So it's like, I know I've said this before, but really, I'm seeing this way more today than I've ever. Remember I told you, if they speak and they lying, and that's anything they tell you, you better go fact check it, and fact check it hard. That's what I was talking about. They're literally telling people, you didn't hear what you heard. You didn't see what you say because I'm white and I say so. They really doing the why I'm white and I say so on steroids right now. And let me tell y'all something else. If a person says about old boy from Turning Point, if they say he just had a difference of opinion, he was just debating people, and you heard what his opinions are, well, don't get mad when somebody calls you an anti-black racist. Because if you agree with his opinions, then you're in the same category he's in. And one thing I like about their response to this is that they're being outed. A lot of them are being outed. And I told you the majority of them, I say the majority, I say about 97%. About 97% of them are not going to be extremists, no. But old boy kind of represented, like, he's a little out there with it, but he's still putting on a suit and a tie, and you know, he got a family or whatever the case may be, and he's not out there, you know, like the Klan and all that, right? Because they'll shun that, but old boy, they kind of like that because a little bit more polished, but that's what they discuss in their households about black people. You understand? Because what y'all don't understand is that they talk about us all the time in their households, okay? Because the obsession they have with us, you have to be talking about us in your house. You have to. And I don't think they even know why they're so obsessed with us like that. Because think about it. You're so obsessed about 14% of the population that don't even live all over this country. Because black people are not in mass numbers all over the country. The majority of black Americans are in the southern part of the United States. The southern part and go all the way up to the east. That's where the majority of us at. Of course, yes, we in the Midwest too, like the Chicagos, Detroits, and stuff like that. You know, but the most part, you look at the numbers, we are in the South. Basically, a lot of us never left the South. You know, you could say our ancestral homeland of America is the South, right? A lot of them live places they don't even engage with black people. I saw a documentary the other day about West Virginia. They got places that they haven't even seen a black person. But yeah, you got this one town that they had this tunnel, I think it's Dungus, West Virginia, that they have enacted terrorism. You know what kind of terrorism I'm talking about, because I got to be careful what I say on this platform. See, if I wasn't on this platform, I say exactly what I mean. This is what I was talking about with the app. So this one tunnel, they enacted all kind of terrorism to black people constantly. The people say, hey, you don't go to that town because something going to happen to you over there if you're a black person. You understand what I'm saying? That kind of stuff still go on. And they feel they need to preserve that because, once again, they want to preserve that because that's their culture. See, when you just relegate it just to the term of racism, no, you're really doing a disservice. You have to say it's culture because you preserve culture. You preserve that. This is something you naturally do is culture. Okay? Now, let's go it on and continue here. Let's get back on our screen here. Where are we at? I don't want to finish this off. I need to get to the rest of my points. So, they were saying that the Park Service officials marked the submission as out of compliance with staff and now expect to cover up parts of the sign and remove them. It says separately, the Park Service officials have ordered the removal of a photograph illustrating violence against slaves known as the Scourge Back at one national park. According to two people familiar with the matter who spoke about it, they said because they were not authorized to speak to the media, they did not identify the park in question for fear of reprisals. The photograph taken in 1863, 2 years for Emancipation Proclamation, or at least 2 years before we was officially released, I would say. It says shows scars on the back of a man probably named Peter Gordon from wounds inflicted by his masters before he escaped slavery. It said the photo was circulated widely at the time, and northern audiences were shocked at what the photo showed. Said Ann Cross, a scholar of the 19th century photography at Bowdoin College Museum of Art. Now, let's see, how much longer we got? We ain't got that much long here. They say the bodies of enslaved people like Peter Gordon revealed to them realities they had never seen with their own eyes before, and in many cases, it altered their political opinions about the need to defeat the Confederacy and preserve the Union. Of course, you know, the photo became famous, taking on a greater meaning in the struggle for black liberation. They said the New Yorker integrated the image into a collage on its cover commemorating George Floyd. They said a month after his death at the hands of police. Later that year, Viola Davis appeared on the cover of Vanity Fair showing her back with photographer acknowledging that he sought to replicate the historic photo, okay? Now, Trump's executive order singing out corrosive ideology at Philadelphia Independence National Historic Park, where the founders signed the Declaration of Independence, okay? So I'm just kind of going through some of this. I'm not going to read, well, I mean, it's not really much here to read, but let's go to why. There's a why. Why is this being done? Let me check out my time. Why is this being done? Why? And now I'm going to tell you this. Trump is signing executive orders, but this don't really come from Trump. This comes from the people at the Heritage Foundation and people like that, because they're trying to take this particular country to a white nationalist Christian extremist type of deal. Just be honest with you. But I will say this. I will tell you it won't work. They could try. It will not work. And the reason why I can say it's not work is because they're literally in control of everything right now, and they're still not happy. They're angry. They're angry, more angry. Now, you would think that, okay, Biden's out of office, Kamala's out of office, right? The Democrats aren't running anything. You would think they'll be the happiest campers in America, and they're not happy. Because they're not happy because when you get what you want and you still don't think you get anything, there's no fulfillment from it. There's no fulfillment. So they feel that, okay, I'm going to lean more into anti-black racism. So now they're really leaning into racism. Of course, that's normally what, if you study them historically, that's normally what they do, is they lean more into anti-black racism. They want to lean more into, white violence. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of white gun violence. They lean more into that historically. So you got to remember what I told y'all. It's a culture. It's not isms. It's a culture. All right? So why are they doing this? Why erasing slavery history is strategic, not random? Why do they want to do it? Now, when it comes to Trump and the base, because listen, Trump is going to be gone. He cannot be president ever again. Okay? But why are they doing it? They said, now this is what point number one, the base protection. They say it caters to his conservative base that feels uncomfortable or attacked when slavery and systemic racism are acknowledged. Now, why do they feel attacked? Did they put anybody in slavery? No. I do not feel attacked about you talking about something that I didn't do. I don't feel attacked, but they do. We mentioned systemic racism, which happens today still. Now, they still feel bad. They they saying I'm bad person, this and that and the third. I had nothing to do with it. Yes, you do. Because the system is not equal for everybody, and you're fine with it. But you don't want to hear no one tell you about it, because you walk around with the weight of sin. See, you say you're Christians, right? So let's talk about Christians, right? Let's talk about the Bible. What do the scriptures teach? The ministry of the Holy Spirit. What is it supposed to do? They talk about this in the book of Acts. Come on, you Christians. I'm talking about y'all conservatives are supposed to be Christians. What's the ministry of the Holy Spirit? Right? One of the things that the ministry of the Holy Spirit is supposed to do on the earth was to definitely remind you of the scriptures and what Jesus taught. Also, it's still part of the Godhead, right? And also supposed to convict men and women of sin and unrighteousness. So if you're walking around with historical sin and unrighteousness, and if you read your Bible, what do the scriptures teach? The sins of the father can visit the sons up to the third and fourth generation, and you have no status correction in any of your generations, so you still dealing with the weight of sin and unrighteousness. that was to happen not only to black people, but that's one of the greatest sins. What you did to the Native American, what you did to the Hispanic, what you did to the Asian, what you did to the Africans, okay? What you did to everybody you could think of. And even the stuff that you're doing now in 2025, that you're doing all over the world. You carry the weight of sin, and you're thinking that you're going to get rid of it by erasing some photos. It don't work that way. The Holy Spirit is a spirit. You can erase every photo you want. You can tell the Smithsonian to shut every museum down to never speak about slavery again. You will still feel the weight of sin upon you. You understand? You can attack us all day, right? Because I know our mere presence reminds you of that sin and unrighteousness. Because they say they're Christians, so I'm going to talk to them like a Christian, right? Even though I told you there's no way they can be a Christian, because how you be a Christian and you can't follow the 10 Commandments? You ain't follow one law of the 10 Commandments. Second thing here, okay, because this is Christians we talking about, so I'm going to talk to them like a Christian, y'all. I'm going to talk to them like a Christian. By minimizing slavery, Trump reassures his base that they won't be blamed for America's past. You're not going to get rid of it, and you're going to be blamed. You're going to be blamed. Who else is there to blame? You're going to be blamed. You decided to not make it right. You can do reparations and a few other things you can do with it, make America equal, and be the generation that set it right, but you choose not to. The second point is rewriting the national identity. So if slavery is taught honestly, America must confront that its wealth and freedom were built on black bondage. So all of the trillions of dollars of wealth they had came off our backs. They didn't do it on their own. If they had came from Europe, did it on their own with no slavery, that would be a good story. That would be a great story to tell. But they didn't do it like that. They did it off of 200 and almost 50 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow. And then after Jim Crow, we still dealing with issues, okay? Some of our people in this country was still enslaved in a way all the way up to the 1970s. You can look up those documentaries. Now, the third thing, blocking reparations and justice claims. If history of stolen black labor is erased, so is the argument for reparations, targeted policies, or dismantling systemic inequities. All right, here's the thing with that. You can never erase the history. And we're not going to stop talking about reparations. Let me tell you some reparations that, notice how angry they get with reparations? An old boy from Turning Point. Why should I have to pay? Well, you look at how indignant they get. But just even hearing about reparations. No money has hit nobody's account. And look at their reaction. See, their reaction to it is a reaction, a spiritual reaction, and it's a reaction of guilt. Because they know what they family has done. They know even where the bodies are buried in places that we don't even know. You understand? And when you tell them about, you're going to pay reparations. It's coming. They get so angry with that. So they feel that, well, if I remove slavery, then that's going to stop black people from talking about it and not having a justice claim. Also with that, it protects existing wealth and power structures, because if you have a transfer of wealth, listen, these people understand us very well. They know they can give us reparations and a quarter of us will just go blow it off. They know that. They'll go buy cars, buy clothes. They'll drink it up, smoke it up. They'll be, tricking, whatever they're doing with it. They fine with that. If that all what black people would do with reparations, they're cool with that. But here's the problem. The brothers and sisters, let's say like myself, that would take that reparations money and grow it and turning into something, who's not going out here trying to drink it up, smoke it up, trick it off on cars, jewelry, whatever the case may be. The brothers and sisters say, oh, now I got the money, I can expand my business. Oh, now I got the money, now I can finally open up this company that I want to open up. Or I actually want to start a real school. Now I got the money. I already got the school going, but now I can open up a real school. We're talking about a real school, real institutions. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to inject that kind of capital into Black America because, if we get reparations, our situation is turned overnight, and they know this. They want to keep them at the top of the hierarchy, but it's becoming harder and harder to do. And the more racist you're being, anti-Black racist you're being, is becoming extremely more expensive, to the point that white people are suffering because of the expense of anti-Black racism. And now the billionaire class is literally waging war against their own. You understand what I'm saying? Now, weaponizing the culture war. If they say he frames slavery education and critical race theory as woke indoctrination. So you have to, because you learn about the history of America, that's woke indoctrination. You understand what I'm saying? No, it's history. It's nothing woke about history. Nothing woke about history. Now, fighting against it rallies his base and turns cultural resentment into political energy. Why would they have cultural resentment toward American history? No matter what you say, slavery happened, okay? You should be more upset with your ancestors for being lazy. If they weren't so lazy, then we wouldn't be discussing this right now. We wouldn't be discussing it. I would be wherever my ancestors come. Well, I know where my ancestors originally come from. I would be on the continent of Africa, probably today, if slavery wouldn't have never happened, or wherever I would be, right? But I'm here. Why I'm here? Because my ancestors came through the transatlantic slave trade. That's why I'm here. Because of your laziness. That's why I'm here. And millions of other Black folks. That's why they're here. That is your fault. Because of your laziness. Even some of you say y'all should have picked your own cotton. Yeah. And you wouldn't be dealing with this problem. But you know what? The nation you wouldn't have this nation because you couldn't build this up by yourself. If that's the case, you would have done it. Now, the next one, the psychological, which is one of my favorites. Psychology, deep psychology is one of my favorite things, definitely as in the past year or so. I love to understand the psychology of people and how they move, especially human beings. They say the full truth, the psychological comfort of power. Full truth means acknowledging generational theft, inherited wealth, and systemic privilege, okay? So basically, I want to protect this system much as possible, protect our privilege, protect all of that, and bringing up this story of slavery constantly, it lets people know I didn't earn my keep by merit. I got it through stolen labor. I got it through theft of resources. I got it through theft of inventions. I got everything I got like a criminal. They always want to call somebody a criminal. The greatest criminal is the white supremacist. He was a criminal from the beginning, and he's still a criminal now. You know, anything they say about us, they're projecting on themselves. They are projecting who they are on us. It's always trying to say Black people commit the most crimes. Man, you've been committing crimes from the day you step foot on the African continent. When you step foot in the Caribbean, you was committing crimes. When you step foot here in this land, you commit crimes. When you step foot in Canada, you committing crime. When you step foot in Mexico and all Latin America, you was committing crime. When you step foot in Asia, you was committing crime. You understand what I'm saying? Everywhere you ever been, you have committed crimes. Look in Australia, the Tasmanians, you wiped them out. You think that wasn't committing crime? Crimes against humanity? See, they don't want to acknowledge their criminality, but they want to say some brother in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Then when they talk about Chicago, they don't tell you, okay, who's committing the crime? Who's arrested? Where they come from? Are they a career person that do it? What is their nationality? Or are they really Black American? Are they an immigrant? Who's committing the crime? And when you start asking them that, they're like, they don't know. Oh, there were so many people. This many people was shot. Okay, who shot them? Who shot them? What neighborhoods did they get shot in? They never break down where. Because they, just like we know in every city, you got neighborhoods where different people live. You got where white people live, Black people, Asians, Hispanics, etc. You got mixed neighborhoods. We all know where they at in the different cities. So what neighborhoods were people getting shot in? Where they come from? You understand? But brain processing power is not really a thing that they like to practice. And this is why their base is extremely dangerous, because they don't like to think. You know what I'm saying? So losing old boy that can kind of articulate things in their own anti-Black racist way, that's a big blow for them. That's a major blow for them, because they don't have too many people like him over there. They really don't. They really don't. And hearing his story, you know, when he was in college, he was approached by a Texas billionaire, and he was given little over $4.3 million to go start Turning Point. See, this is why, unfortunately, we can't compete. How do you compete with that? Give an example, and I'm going to talk about it. Sometime I got to. I'm just keeping it 100. The way I speak, if I was a white guy, I would have got approached. Let's say if I was speaking, but in reverse, I would have got approached by him. Hey, I'll give you 10 million. Hey, man, build this thing up. That's how they get down. We don't, no matter who, we don't like to support our people like that. We'll have them struggling, doing whatever, right? Even if our people ask, hey, man, you do this much, they don't want to do it. It's I don't know. Well, and I know what it is. Unfortunately, this is a global thing with Black folks. I've seen it. A lot of us have self-hate, and we ain't talking about struggle. We talking about just self-hate. Because a lot of us don't struggle. Some of us do very well. We have self-hate, and I've heard Black people say this terminology on both sides, men and women. I ain't giving her. I ain't going over there shopping with her. She gonna get some money. Think she better than me. And I've heard the same thing from men. That self-hate is why we don't have certain things. We have so many talented Black people in our community. I mean, I just be seeing them and hearing them. I say, this is some talented people. And yet our stuff can't get to certain levels, not because of systemic racism, actually, but because we don't invest into it, unfortunately. And we do invest our money. We do invest it in things that's not going to further anything. Unfortunately, like, you know, we are smoking, vaping, drinking alcohol, you know, whatever. That's not going to do anything, you know, for us as a community. Instead of investing in institutions that we may have, or, you know, institutions like schools, that's institutions that we need in our community. Media is considered an institution. Why do you think the white supremacists invest billions of dollars? Why do you think the conservatives are trying to take over all the media? Why? Because they know that's important. If you can control the airwaves, you can control what people, the information, you can control a lot. And as Black people, even though we got more of a voice now than we ever had, we have way more of a voice than we ever had, right? We still don't have enough media outlets. And if we do have media outlets, then, you know, we at the mercy of social media algorithms. Instead of saying, you know what, okay, we got our own stuff, man, our people back us up. We cool. We'll be on the social media algorithms, but hey, if something was to happen with that, we good. We support it over here. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the truth. That's the truth. You know, when people talk about what happened with the BET, we shouldn't even be thinking about BET. It should be more networks than that. It shouldn't be we have one network, and we lost this one network. Essence, we lost Essence. It should have been multiple Essence. It should be multiple BET networks, and it's supported by because if you support your people, then they free to do it. When you start taking white people's money, you're not free no more. You're not free. You got to do what they tell you because you took their money. Let's see here. Why are we putting up? Let me see. And see, sometimes, y'all, this is why I'll be on with you. And I'm talking to the good people. This is why a lot of times we do members only, right? Because a lot of times I just want to talk to the people that a lot of times get it. Because there are people that will subscribe and talk crazy, right? And like I tell people, if you get on my nerves, I'll just switch it back to members only. And we cool. Because I know people on members only. That I will tell you this, that's the people that's here all the time, no matter what. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Okay. You say our people need repair. I don't really think we need repair per se. I just think we need proper focus. Because let's say George Floyd, we focus very well on something like that, and we got things done. The only issue that we have after George Floyd is, can we sustain that kind of unity to get things done? You understand what I'm saying? Like, we have our people giving all kind of things to Umar, and yet we got black institutions that's right here that actually have schools open, and they may need an extra 100,000, 200,000 to expand the school, and they're servicing our children daily. They're servicing our children. We need more black private schools, and they have them. They have them, and they just need a lot of times more of our support. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a reality. I believe if it was up to me, all black children would be going to black private schools. None of our children be in public school. None of them. Because it's like this. If they don't treat you right, they won't teach you right. And that's just bottom line. We're giving our children to these people who say Charlie Kirk is he just have a difference of opinion. You don't think some of them school teachers you sent your kids to today don't feel that way? That he just had a difference of opinion. And you know what his opinions are, and they're teaching your black children. They let you know what they think about your black children. The way we have been treated in this country, I still don't understand why we are comfortable giving our children to these people to teach when these people don't teach them anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we should have enough schools for our children. We should have enough media outlets that's going to speak for the people. Because there's a lot of good people out here outside of what we're doing. There's a lot of good people out here. But then when you go and get the money from the Democrats, like Boule Martin, you got to toe the Democrat line. So yeah, you may be getting the money that way, but you can't really speak for the grassroots. The grassroots have to support the people, period. Yeah, King Noble. Malcolm X talked about that. Malcolm X, you could think about anybody you could think of. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, but at least, the Nation of Islam have schools, like Elevated Places and Muhammad University and all. They have, the Nation of Islam built institutions. My little girl used to go to a Nation of Islam school. She went to a Nation of Islam school for 3 years here in Houston. Why? Because, and I'm going to tell you how she got there. I'm like, man, what school I'm going to put her in? And Sister Sadia at the time was telling me, Brother Phil, don't send your baby to no public school. And I'm like, I don't know what school to put her in. Why don't you come put her in at Elevated Places as at the time? Come put her over here. Say, hey, we going to teach. We know how we teach. I say, you know what? I say, can she go? He said, yeah, she can go. She say, I'm gonna go talk to Sister Wakiti. I say, okay. So then me and my wife went up there to talk to Sister Wakiti, and yeah, my little girl got in, and she stayed there from, I think, was it kindergarten, pre-K, all the way up to about third grade. She was in that school, And then, I mean, she's still in the black school now, but that particular school. So, you know, I'm always concerned about that because I'm like, look, I don't want nobody teaching my little girl other than our people. I just don't, because I know how they think about us. I know. Then I'm hearing from other people here in Houston, some of these elite private schools, talking about they got a MAGA problem in there. I say, what? I was talking to a teacher. I say, they got MAGA issues in those places? He's like, yeah. And naming names. I'm like, I say, see, man, see. Man, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? I just don't want us to, I know you got to deal with the real world. I get it. But if I can keep my children's education a certain way, and they being taught about, because listen, black people got so many degrees, okay? Why aren't black people teaching black people? We need black people to teach our children. Yeah, Jane is right. You got to sell your soul for your money, and I'm not selling my soul. You know, if it got that bad, then you have to close shop. Then if it got that bad. It's just that simple. Now, for us here, we do multiple things. You know, we got our hands. You have to have your hands in multiple things. But even those multiple projects sometimes cost money. And, yeah, we all out of pocket with it. To be honest with you, we out of pocket on a whole lot of things. So, but we say, well, it's an investment. Like this was an investment. You know, I was out of pocket on a whole lot of this, too. You know, I'll never forget when I initially got a lot of things started. I think I put in the initial investment I put in when I got let go from this one petrochemical job I had before I got my last petrochemical job that I stayed at for about a good 8 years. And I took all my money I had from there, like $10,000, and I threw it all into this. So I know I put a lot of money in this over the years myself. Money that I worked for. I didn't say, hey, give me a GoFundMe or whatever. And I said, no, hey, this is the money I got. My wife was very supportive of it. She said, no, you need to invest into what you're doing. My wife was very, very supportive of that. It's not like she was mad about it or saying something. No, she told me that's what I need to do. You know, and so I say, all right. So I went ahead and say, forget it. Threw the money in, and the rest is history. The rest is history. Thank you for that love offering, Jamil there. I'm going to give you a hand clap for that love offering. Thank you. Let me see here. Hold on. I'm looking at something else. Okay. You say your son was at a Black Adventist private school. You say they have many of them. Yeah. If you, and y'all, and this wasn't recent. When I talk about the 10,000, that was back in, how many years ago? I know me and my wife was definitely married by then. Was it 2013-ish, I think, when that happened? 2012, somewhere around there. 2012, 2013. I had about little over 10 grand in my 401, and I was gonna just no, because I didn't get a job. I didn't get another petrochemical job. It took me about 6 months. So I was working online every day for about 6 months, and then that's when I got that petrochemical job. That 6 months later, and then I worked there for about a good 8 years until I finally walked away at the end of 2022, December 2022. So, yeah. But there's a lot of money that's been invested in this platform by me. I'm just talking about the initial investment. The initial. Yeah, but here's the thing about that. You mentioned here's the thing about that. That's a lot of pressure about these platforms, and nobody gave me anything with this. I've seen a lot of people come and go over the years. And I can a lot of times tell when a person gonna last and when they're not gonna last. I can just listen to them and tell. It's like I've seen too much. I almost can write a book on the what I've seen with that. It's like I can just tell who lasts and who just not, who will eventually burn out. Sometimes I see it coming. With certain personalities, I'm gonna tell you this: the one personality that I can't work with is someone who's just that arrogant type. I can't work with you. I just can't. Because I know you, because when somebody is arrogant, they don't listen. And I've had experience with people like that. And you tell them over and over and over, and because they get arrogant, they think they know everything, and they do something, right? And so I learned just when people are arrogant, you tell them about it, but if they don't fix it, you got to go. You got to go. You got to go. You got to be humble around here. You got to be humble because it's like this. I tell people all the time, I can easily, if I was that arrogant type or thinking I'm better than people, I can easily do that. But no, I feel the more you go, the more you got to be humble and understand, that God got you here and you need to act accordingly. Don't get so pompous with, now somebody can say, well, I think you're this. Well, if you judge what I say and how I say things, that, oh, he's arrogant. No, I'm confident. I know the difference between arrogance and confidence. And some people don't like a black man to talk like me. Even some black people don't like it either. They like a black man to be lowly and soft spoken, and some people like a black man in a dress. They're comfortable with that, But I'm old school, so that ain't happening. All right, y'all. But thank y'all for checking us out this evening. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure you click the like button. I know normally LaSherica comes up at 8, and the video was rendered, but it wasn't, all the stuff wasn't put together because I had some other stuff we had to do today, and I couldn't get it to my editors in time. So LaSherica, she'll be back tomorrow, that's for sure. But thank y'all for listening, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.